You know, circles are so supremely beautiful because they're so symmetric. They're the same sort of all around. You know, they're just perfectly curved and beautiful and so forth. They've got a center, and we could talk about a lot of things about them. In fact, the two most important things we could talk about is the area of the circle and then the perimeter, the length around, which for circles we call the circumference. It turns out there are very famous formulas for actually computing both these things. If you want to find out the perimeter or the circumference, what you do is if you know the radius, which is just the length from the center perpendicular straight out to the edge, then in fact if that's r, then the circumference is 2 pi r, where pi is that really, really special number. It's 3.14. Right. Now, what about the area? Well, the area is equally sort of straightforward. We just take the radius squared and multiply it by this famous number pi. So pi r squared. Circumference, 2 pi r. Area equals pi r squared. Now, you could actually write the circumference in a slightly different way, which I just want to remind you. Remember that the diameter is the length straight across from one side to the other, passing right through the center. And so, if you think about it, a diameter is really 2 times the radius. And so really, 2r can be replaced by the diameter. So the circumference also equals pi d, where d is the length of the diameter, because that actually equals 2 pi r. Same thing. Anyway, that's what I tell you, just in case. Let's take a look at some examples together. Let's find the area of circle B, knowing that the diameter is 12. Well, so we take 12 squared, get 144, multiplied by pi, right? Right? No. That's the diameter. We need the radius to find the area. So we have to take half the diameter and realize that's going to be 6. And then we can say it's pi times 6 squared, which is 36. And so the area is 36 pi. And the units here, since it's area, are inches squared. Neat. All right, let's see if we can find some quick little facts about various circles that we're just meeting for the first time. Here's one. We want to find the radius of a circle y for which the circumference equals 32 pi centimeters. All right, no problem. You might want to draw a picture if you want. So the circumference equals 32 pi, which we know equals 2 pi r. So now I can solve this for r. Now you might say, hey, pi, is that something I don't remember? Pi is just a number. It's 3.14. So if I divide both sides by 2 pi, then the pi simplify, and 32 divided by 2 is 16, and so I see 16 equals r, and so the radius equals 16 centimeters. Cool. All right, want to try another one? Yes, you do. I'll give you one last one. I want us to figure out the circumference of the circle M, in which the area is given by 4x squared pi. Tricky. To find the circumference, I have to know the radius. And so to find the radius, I've got to go back to area. So the area is 4x squared pi, but we know the formula is a pi r squared. So if I first divide both sides by the pi to get the r squareds by themselves, the pi's here simplify, and I'm left with just 4x squared equals r squared. And so now I can actually take the square root of both sides. Now we know that r is positive, so we don't have to worry about plus or minus the square root, which we would normally have to do if this were just a generic equation without context. But since we know that r represents a radius, it has to be positive, so I can take the square root of both sides in this case, and the square root of 4 is 2, and the square root of x squared is going to be x. I'm going to assume that x is positive. Technically, if x were negative, I'd have to put absolute values around there. Let's not even worry about that. Let's just pretend that we know x is positive. Then r equals 2x. But that's not the answer we want. We want to find the circumference. Well, the circumference is now pretty straightforward. Circumference equals 2 pi r. So it's going to be this times 2 pi. Well, 2 times 2 is 4. So we have 4x times pi. units are meters. So there's circumference. So once you know area or circumference, you can find radius or the other ones. Very straightforward, just following these two ancient but very famous, very important formulas.